Welcome, everyone. This is Rania Hoteit, and it's my pleasure to be the opening keynote speaker at the next chapter, Midlife Entrepreneurship for Women. In my masterclass, I will talk to you about ageism in our culture, how women experience age discrimination at work, and how ageism can negatively impact our economy and our physical, mental, and financial well-being. Then I'll talk to you about career and personal reinvention by discussing common behaviors of self-sabotage that we typically fall into and what key strategies you can apply to age-proof yourselves and achieve a successful career and personal reinvention in midlife. Lastly, I will talk to you about entrepreneurship and business, how to ignite your inner motivation and passion for life to start a new business and carve your own independent path as an empowered midlife woman entrepreneur. I will be also sharing with you tips on how to turn mid-age challenges into opportunities to find transcendence and thrive in the next chapter of your life. So we have a lot to talk about. But first, let me begin by defining midlife and ageism. Midlife is the central period of a human's journey, spanning from approximately age 40, 45 to age 60, 65, give or take. One common belief about this period is that we should expect to face inner turmoil about our identity, our personal relationships, our career choices, our mortality, and our ultimate purpose in life. In other words, we should expect to face a midlife crisis. Generally, we all struggle with existential questions about meaning and purpose throughout our lives. And we might go through multiple crises, not only during midlife. And as much as the phenomenon does exist for all humans, for women particularly, midlife can be an extremely challenging period as we come face to face with discrimination and exclusion on a regular basis. So what happens when we enter this period? We still have big dreams and aspirations and goals to achieve. And we believe that we have unlimited potential and hope for a better future. Yet, we're not supported by others due to the pervasiveness of biases in the world surrounding us. While discrimination is still affecting women of all ages, ethnicities, and races, the silent epidemic that may be now even more pervasive than sexism is gendered ageism. Gendered ageism is the intersectionality of age and gender bias. And that's why it's a growing concern for professional women as they find it difficult to fight implicit biases that have been imprinted on the psyche by the stamp of society and that are acted on unconsciously by the people around us. It's no surprise that women are more likely than men to encounter ageist attitudes. We are subjected to dual discrimination as we face the accumulated effects of ageism and sexism across many dimensions of our lives, including access to employment, pensions, and key goods and services in a variety of sectors. The reasons are lifelong differences in wages, in working time, and in pension ages for men and women. And most critically, in gender stereotypes and inequalities that have historically impacted women. To better understand how gendered ageism affects women, we need to be aware of the different types of ageism. One, we have institutional ageism, which occurs when an institution perpetuates ageism through its actions and policies or through social norms and practices and rules that are unfair to midlife and older adults. Two, we have interpersonal ageism, which occurs in relationships between individuals or in our social interactions within groups or within our direct community. And three, we have internalized ageism, which is when we internalize ageist beliefs and negative attitudes toward aging, and we apply them to ourselves or project them onto others. Ageism can take many forms, including incorrect assumptions about the abilities of older workers, social group segregation, coded comments, and fewer opportunities. Ageism can be seen at play when managers dismiss the resumes of job seekers because of their age. It's also apparent when companies overlook seasoned employees because managers perceive them to be expensive and not productive, or because they think they're not good with technology, or they're not as fun and engaging, or simply because the company wants a younger blood. Age discrimination leads to older workers being laid off, not hired, or not promoted in disproportionate numbers, which forces them to take time off to search for work or change careers, all which leads to lost economic activity. To make matters worse, companies are currently making it difficult for older workers to reach their full potential by limiting upskilling and training and continuing education options. A recent study by Resume Builder shows that many employers prefer not to hire job seekers over 50. Certain companies are actively creating strategies to fire older workers, even during the current labor shortage and despite their commitment to racial, gender, and sexual identity diversity. And although age discrimination has been illegal since 1967, and even when hiring managers and employers and employees have been drilled on the inappropriateness of bias, negative age stereotypes and ageist attitudes remain common. According to a survey by AARP, ageism was the most frequently reported type of discrimination among women 50 and older, with 48% reporting bias based on their age, including other biases related to their ethnicity and race and skin tone and weight and social class. The intersectionality of age, race, and gender makes it even worse. Women of color feel particularly invisible. Minority women face the most bias, and those from migrant and ethnic groups are at even greater risk of poverty and social exclusion. African American women reported the highest levels of discrimination in the AARP survey, with 70% of those 50 plus experiencing discrimination regularly, and about 59% of Latina and 60% of Asian American Pacific Islander respondents 50 and older said they're regularly discriminated against. Especially with society's emphasis on lookism, which is the importance of maintaining a youthful and attractive appearance that puts women under a microscope as we show visible signs of aging. Because of lookism, women face ageism much earlier and much more commonly than our male counterparts. The effects of gendered ageism for professional women go beyond the pressure to look younger. It affects their job security and financial futures as they are perceived in the workplace as being less valuable or less competent and irrelevant as they age. Among working women who experience discrimination regularly, 88% and 81% of those above 50 have felt pressured to look or act a certain way at work, and much of this pressure is related to the need to look younger. 40% of respondents felt pressured from social media to do cosmetic procedures, including 1 in 5 who said they feel a great deal of pressure to take such steps. Nearly half the women reported feeling pressure to dye their hair to cover the gray or change their hairstyle altogether. 57% reported feeling pressure to use makeup. And to nobody's surprise, The physical appearance change that generates the most pressure is weight loss, with 68% of women reported feeling pressure to lose weight and look slimmer. All these biases erode women's self-esteem and confidence. Our beliefs and attitudes about aging don't only dramatically affect our mental and physical health, it also affects our longevity. Discrimination has long been associated with physical problems, including hypertension, heart disease, and chronic illnesses. A pivotal study by the National Center for Biotechnology Information on the impact of ageism found that people with negative attitudes about aging live 7.5 years less on average compared with those who had positive self-perceptions. Research also reveals links of discrimination to anxiety, depression, psychological distress, eating disorders, substance abuse, and lower overall life satisfaction. A study published in the journal Pediatrics found that adults who face discrimination frequently were about 25% more likely to be diagnosed with a mental disorder and twice as likely to develop severe psychological distress than those who didn't experience discrimination at all. More recent research linked discrimination with cognitive decline in African Americans and Latinos. And that's also no surprise because, as I mentioned, they typically experience the most bias. Even the anticipation of discrimination can cause stress and may prompt us to avoid situations where people expect to be treated poorly and possibly forcing them to miss out on opportunities to expand their careers and social connections. The impact of ageism has devastating consequences on the economy as well. When we internalize ageist beliefs and harmful stereotypes, this increases our health problems, which also leads to increase in healthcare spending that reach $63 billion a year based on a recent study published in the Gerontologist. Another study by the AARP in partnership with the Economist Intelligence Unit projected that ageism in the workplace will cost the economy $4 trillion in losses over the next few decades if companies keep pushing workers out of the workforce, not realizing the untapped value of older adults. Unfortunately, due to the lack of awareness, the world doesn't realize that age discrimination is costly not only at an individual level, but also on the whole economy. Especially that we are losing a talent pipeline for institutions and organizations to fill gaps with experienced professionals due to implicit biases and wrong stereotypes. When in reality, based on scientific research and social studies, the truth is job performance generally improves with age, and midlife workers are highly rated for their loyalty, reliability, leadership, organizational skills, and problem-solving abilities. And as a result, they typically cost employers less than younger workers. Furthermore, when we truly have an age-inclusive workforce, productivity, creativity, and innovation tend to be much higher, and we tend to have lower turnover while also experiencing greater growth. All that said, a reduction of ageism can have a health benefit and an economic benefit for society. But we must become forward-thinking and begin to take meaningful actions. You might ask, well, how do we do that? Where do we start? Is it even possible to overcome our biases? Experts in implicit social cognition, which is a field that studies socially stigmatized groups and older adults in the form of ageism, say yes. Yes, it is possible to overcome our implicit biases. But first, we must uncover them and answer questions like, are we ageists? And if so, in what situations and in what ways? A good place to start is always by starting to change ourselves. So if you are ready to examine this question, I urge you to take the Harvard Implicit Biases Test. I don't know the link at the top of my head, but if you go to harvard.edu and search, you will find it. It's an excellent tool to help you uncover any implicit biases that you might hold towards other adults. And while developing this level of awareness, you can actively work to identify and recognize and circumvent the stereotyping behaviors and attitudes that affect your perceptions and your interactions with other people as well. Another critical question is, how do we age-proof ourselves for a successful career and personal reinvention in midlife, given the disheartening reality of ageism? For us women in particular, the subtle, constant categorizing by age can make us feel like we are approaching an exponential expiration date, and that can definitely hold us back in all areas of our lives. Women who experience discrimination regularly react by trying to adapt their behaviors. 74% in the AARP survey said they closely observe their surroundings. 58% carefully watch what they say and how they say it. And 51% consider feelings of safety and comfort in their everyday interactions. But what if I tell you, over time, it impacts our sense of self-worth? And when our perception of self-worth decreases, we are less likely to show up authentically or feel secure and safe within ourselves. We are less likely to explore new opportunities or try new experiences. We are less likely to connect with other people or engage in social activities. We are less likely to feel motivated to achieve new goals or feel passionate to pursue our dreams and aspirations. This is a serious threat to the quality of our human experience and our overall life satisfaction. Many of you might relate to these self-sabotaging behaviors as I speak. That's why women should not have to adapt their behavior to discrimination against them. We also should not have to adopt negative self-perceptions and attitudes about aging. We don't have to. So how do we cope with discrimination? And how do we bolster positive self-perceptions and age beliefs? The shortest answer is be proactive about it. And there are practical steps that I'm about to share with you that you can take. One, increase your awareness by identifying negative stereotypes in society and testing your own implicit biases. Ask yourself, what are the images or words or phrases that come to mind when you think of an older person, or when you think about getting older yourself? Once you take note of these words and phrases and images, work on changing the negatives to positives. Also, by understanding that the negative age beliefs we acquire from society result in physical and mental health problems, as I mentioned earlier. Make sure to monitor yourself for when age stereotypes influence how you think about yourself and about others as well. 2, practice self-care. Research shows that activities such as mindfulness and meditation and journaling and physical exercise can help protect you from the negative health effects of ongoing discrimination. 3, focus on your strength. According to the American Psychological Association, concentration on our core values and beliefs and strength can counter the negative effects of bias. Overcoming hardships also make you more resilient and better able to tackle future challenges. 4, seek support. Joining a support group or talking with others who have experienced discrimination can validate your feelings and help you feel less alone. And if you are experiencing anxiety or depression, seek professional help from a psychologist or a therapist. And don't hesitate to end relationships with people who constantly discriminate against you and project their negative beliefs and attitudes onto you. 5, change your beliefs. Unconsciously accepting negative stereotypes about your own group have been linked with psychological distress. Reframing the way you think about your race, ethnicity, or age can help. And specifically when it comes to aging, challenge your ageist beliefs and focus on the positive aspects of growing older, which should be celebrated and embraced. Spend time with younger individuals instead of segregating yourself from other age groups, because forming intergenerational relationships is the best way of ensuring a future that's free of ageism. And lastly, take actions to protest against discrimination so it's no longer harmful. Speak up when someone makes you feel excluded or discriminated against in any way. File a formal complaint if you have to, or take legal action when necessary. Let your elected representatives know when you disagree with their positions on relevant legislations. Organize a rally or run for office to enact policies to protect others from discrimination if you are passionate about advocacy and politics. You can also protest by starting a new business and carving your own independent path as a midlife woman entrepreneur. Women in midlife are particularly interested in entrepreneurship and reinvention. And becoming your own boss is one of the best ways for you to live your purpose and give back to society. Some of you might already have a business, and others of you may be questioning if you're ready to carve an entrepreneurial path. And some of you are asking the question, is it a good time? Is it a good time to declare your independence and start your own business? Well, there are 2 great times to start a business. One, in your 20s when you have nothing to lose, and 2, in your 50s when you have nothing to prove. And let me tell you a brief story about myself, because I belong to the first category. At the age of 18, I moved to the United States alone with only $1,000 in my pocket. No set plans, no clear vision of my future, and absolutely no idea how I'd survive. When I decided to become an entrepreneur, I was studying full-time and working multiple jobs. I had little to nothing, and my circumstances were far from ideal to take such risks. Being an immigrant, a young woman, a self-starter and entrepreneur in a new country, I occasionally faced discrimination and sabotage from classmates and teachers and colleagues and random adversaries. Then during my early stages in business, I faced sexism and gender barriers, especially that I was carving my lane in historically male-dominated industries, manufacturing and technology. Whether my competences got first judged by appearance or age or gender or ethnicity or behavioral expectations distinct to my occupation, I've seen it all. What truly inspired me and propelled me through these challenges was my resilience and my relentless perseverance and genuine desire to succeed. Eventually, I launched 2 businesses while completing my undergraduate and graduate degrees, and both businesses were successfully acquired prior to founding my 3rd company, ID4A Technologies, which we launched in 2011, and we just made another successful exit as the company got acquired a few months ago. So I speak from experience, and I look forward to launching new businesses and ventures during the next stage of my life. In fact, starting a business at midlife can be tremendously rewarding. Particularly for women in their 50s, it can be a great time to launch and it's not as risky as you might think. Research shows that women's confidence at work increases with age, while at the same time, their family responsibilities related to childbearing and rearing decrease, which make entrepreneurship over 50 a great idea and a great possibility. Another compelling reason to consider it is that midlife women are more likely to see opportunities for a new business because we have greater work experiences behind us, which gives us the networks to successfully launch a business at this stage of our careers. We also have the financial resources and security to support a new business. Additionally, we live in a time where women entrepreneurship is on the rise. And while women participation in the workforce hit its lowest point in decades, many women who rejected corporate structures and their failure to support them are starting their own businesses. According to census data, the number of active women business owners outpaced male business owners during the economy recovery. The number of women who own businesses is also up 4% from before the pandemic, while men business owners are down 2% yearly. And although the odds are still against us, with women raising only 2% of all VC dollars as of last year, the number of VCs and accelerators who are exclusively supporting and funding women-led companies is increasing, which means that women now have better access to mentorship and financial support than ever before. And as the number of women entrepreneurs increase, the percentages of VC dollars invested in women entrepreneurs will eventually increase as well. So if you are ready to carve your own path and start a new business, I have a few simple tips for you to think about. 1, create a proper mindset and a vision of where you want to go. 2, do your research and be assured there's truly a demand for your service or product in the marketplace. 3, make realistic assessment of your competences. Yes, your skill set and experience may offer the basis to starting your venture, but you must be open to continuing to learn and develop new skills as your business evolves. 4, get a firm grip on your finances. Many first-time entrepreneurs fall into the trap of overvaluing their initial income and undervaluing their startup costs. So make sure you can sustain yourself and support the business to keep it growing. 5, assemble a support team. Confiding in a spouse or a partner or a mentor or a friend or a sibling or even your adult child can keep you balanced and help you steadily navigate the uncharted landscape of founding a new business. 6, consider hiring a professional career coach or a life coach to help keep you motivated and focused on the next steps to take to keep your business viable. This kind of advice and accountability can be invaluable when you're planning and launching your business. So feel free to reach out to me if you need this kind of support or find people that you can trust. Lastly, manage your expectations. Don't expect success to be instant. Don't expect growth to be constant. Be ready to face obstacles and failures and complete start-overs. So you have to be patient because it will take time to lay the groundwork for a successful launch and for a sustainable growth trajectory as well. As I conclude my masterclass, I hope that all the studies and strategies and mindset shifts and tips that I shared with you can help you turn mid-age challenges into opportunities to find transcendence and growth. Combating negative self-perceptions and beliefs can ignite your motivation to reinvent yourself and pursue your dreams. Changing self-sabotaging behaviors can enable you to fulfill your ultimate purpose and reach your highest potential. Reclaiming your self-worth can empower you to declare your independence and thrive in the next chapter of your life. And make no mistake about it, entrepreneurship is the ultimate declaration of independence. So the question isn't, am I ready? Or is it a good time? We should ask ourselves, if not now, then when? If not now, then when? Thank you so much.